Finding a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you this morning. I'm going to sit up on a little bit of height. You could sit in a chair, you could sit on more height, you could sit on a bolster. Really do whatever you want. It's the beauty of yoga is that it's adaptable for all bodies and all areas and all situations, let's call it. And so as you find your seat, just any little movements. I know I'm always putting the heels of the hands in the upper thighs and leaning forward, but there might be other movements that you're drawn to as you first get here. So I'm asking you now to indulge yourself. What are the little instinctual movements that are coming to the forefront for you that your body is like, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do this? Right, I'm finding I want to lean side to side, pressing into the other thigh. That's feeling good. Might feel good to even do a little forward bend, maybe a little back leaning. What does your body want? What does your body need here? Finding I want to take the spine around in a circle. Maybe that would feel good to you. Again, I'm offering suggestions. Maybe you're drawn to something else. That's fine. We're approaching with curiosity, which is my word for the new year, right? Sometimes people get inspired and they pick a word for the year. My word for 2025 is curiosity. All right, and then coming to sit up nice and tall. Let's everyone take hold of the kneecaps, lifting the spine up nice and tall, lengthening the tailbone towards the earth beneath us. Really thinking of reaching the crown of the head up, and there might be a little wiggle that feels good here as you're leaning back. The hands are on the knees, so you have that support. And then I'm going to ask you to close the eyes here. Lift and spread the collarbones, navel drifts back, then maintain all of that and slide the hands back on the thighs, still palms down. I don't know about where you live, but here in Maine, the weather took a turn to very, very chilly. And so if you're trying to maintain warmth, having the palms down on the legs is one of the ways to do that. In that, though, we have to maintain the shoulder blades rolling down and back, drawing the shoulder blades slightly towards each other to help support the lift and spread of the collarbones. And then doing a little head balance. So dipping one ear towards one shoulder, other ear towards other shoulder. Discovering what's going on in the cervical spine. Maybe there's a little stiffness, a little tightness from slumber. And then coming to balance the skull on top of the spine, ears equidistant to the floor beneath you. And then relax the throat. Let's open the mouth wide. I know we usually do this at the end of class, but let's open the mouth wide and stick the tongue out here. Just stretching the jaw, stretching the tongue. First thing. Nice. And then drawing the tongue back in, bring just the lips back to touch. The teeth stay parted. Keep that relaxation in the jaw as you soften the cheekbones, the bridge of the nose, relaxing the eyes in their sockets, going to the space between the eyebrows, soften any tension there, right? That's often a good indicator of our stress level is when we get that little knot between the eyebrows. What can we do here to release, to relax? And then let the eyebrows spread apart from one another. And then in that, can you soften the temple skin, right? As you spread the eyebrows out to the periphery, can that also be a part and parcel of relaxing the temple skin? And then smooth out the forehead. Relax the inner ears. And then come to your breath. Noticing now inhalation, exhalation. Can we find our curiosity here in the breath? There's that word again. Inhaling, exhaling. What is the sensation today? It may be exactly the same as yesterday, but can we approach it with new perception? Maybe you are different than you were yesterday. Hmm. Let yourself be absorbed in the breath. Let everything else fall away. Let anticipation of what's to come fall away. Let remembering what happened fall away. Let yourself just be in this here and now, inhaling, exhaling together in community, even if it is electronic. And then taking the hands together in front of the chest, palm against palm. Lift the sternum, broaden the collarbones, equalize the pressure, left hand, right hand. And then while pressing hands, I want you to turn the head a little left, a little right, just seeing how far can you go. We've got the hands pressing, so there's a little activation at the top of the shoulders. And taking the head back to neutral, let's prepare for sound. Chanting the sound of Om 3 times, and then we'll invocate. Go ahead, exhale fully, let go of all the breath you currently have, and then inhale fully to begin. Ah. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Nice. Take a deep inhalation. As you exhale, let the hands come to the lap. Beautiful. Just take a moment. Let the chin come towards the chest. Stretching the back of the neck. And then why not? We're already here. Go in with the half circles. Rolling left ear towards left shoulder. Back through center. Right ear towards right shoulder. Can be so instructive. These little movements tell us so much of what's going on in the body, right? Especially if we do them kind of every time we think about it, so we can discover. Gorgeous. And then coming back to neutral, go ahead, take your hands to the sides of your skull. I've got the heels of the hands and the temple skin. You can apply a little pressure, wrapping the fingers over the top of the head. Give yourself a squeeze, and then lift your head with your hands back up onto your spine. Gorgeous. Maybe the eyes are still closed now as you drip the hands down your face, down the front of your body, all the way back to your lap. And then on an inhalation, we can open the eyes, coming back into the room. Let's help the legs up, extend the legs, and why not iron them out? Just getting some elongation into these limbs. Maybe a little forward bend starts to happen, maybe not. Gorgeous. All right. And then we're going to start out on our back. So let's do a little housekeeping. If your room is very cold, you need to put a blanket down underneath you, go ahead. I quite like a blanket underneath the head for support. Mhm. And then have a strap and a block nearby. We don't need them for a little bit, but we're going to want them eventually. And it's better to be prepared yogis, right? We want to have all our preparations ready to go. And then coming down onto your back into active rest. You can absolutely leave socks on for this part, especially if your space is chilly or you're feeling cold. Go ahead, leave them on. Then coming down and back, head is fully supported by the blanket, neck is fully supported by the blanket. It should feel good to come down, especially if the body's been feeling tight, right? And then let the head roll from side to side. Again, it's like a eraser for tension in the base of the skull and the back of the neck. Just really letting go of everything, softening the jaw, the teeth, the tongue. Beautiful. Bringing the head back to neutral on an exhalation, invite that right knee into the chest, interlace the hands over the front of the shin, and then give yourself the opportunity to soften and relax. So when I truly relax in my body here, my right knee starts to drift off to the right, and I want you to let that happen. It's sort of happening naturally. Let it, it may not go as far as it might if we were a little bit warmer, a little bit more further into our practice. But you're just seeing what happens, trying to relax the inner groin, the outer hip, the buttock, softening the jaw, the teeth, the tongue. And then you'll feel as you let that right knee drift off to the right, the weight, there we go, comes to the right back of hip. And so then I want you to turn your head to the left an equal amount so you can sort of balance out the weight in the body, right? So the head is going in a bit of opposition to the knee, to the hip. It's fine if the left hip gets light. Taking a few deep, full breaths here. Maybe it feels good to sigh it out. Taking a deep inhalation and then exhaling with that sighing noise. Beautiful. And then you're going to bring the leg back to neutral. If they're not there already, you're going to interlace the hands now behind the back of the thigh. And a few times with the breath, we're going to extend and flex the knee. So as you inhale, you're pressing the heel bone up towards the sky, pressing the thigh bone into the hamstrings, hamstrings into the hands. And then as you exhale, I want you to imagine there's a squishy ball behind the back of your knee, and you're squeezing that ball with the back of your leg. Beautiful. Going like this, inhaling to extend, exhaling to squeeze that invisible ball. You're going at your breath pace, which might be faster or slower than mine. That's okay. Right? You're just finding your way with it here. Don't let the jaw get involved. It happens so quickly. Nice. And then next time the leg is extended, pause. We're going to point and flex the foot. Point and flex. See if you can get really articulate with the toes, spreading them as you go to point the foot, and then curling them in as you go to flex the foot. Right? It's a little toe exercise. Notice if you're holding the breath. Beautiful. And then circling the ankle. A few times in one direction, a few times in the other. How is it in the base of the skull? Do you need to micro move the head a little left, a little right? Beautiful. And then reaching through the heel bone, we're going to release the hands out to the sides. And a few times you're going to inhale to lower the leg towards the earth and then exhale to lift the leg back up towards the sky. It's this sort of slow, controlled movement. We're not really using momentum. We're just seeing what happens. Some folks are going to touch the back of the heel on the earth. Others, that's not going to feel great. Just seeing what happens, right? Finding a little movement, a little lubrication in the hip. And then bringing the leg back up to neutral. Now, like a windshield wiper, taking the leg across the body and then opening it up to the side any amount. It might not go very far without you falling over. That's okay. We're just kind of seeing now going side to side like a windshield wiper. How far can you go out to the right before the left knee needs to move to the left, right? Kind of playing with that line, oh, okay. Can I keep the pelvis neutral, parallel to the floor, and still take that leg out to the side? Right? You're just playing around. All right, then from here, bend the knee out to the right. Take the outer right ankle to the top of the left thigh towards the left knee for tailor's pose. Now, you might decide to use your props here, you might not, it's up to you. So a couple of different options depending on how you're feeling. So everyone can heel toe the left foot towards the center line of the mat. And then you could try out just pushing the right thigh away or using the block to help you push the right thigh away. Other option is to go a little farther, drawing the left thigh towards you as you resist the right knee away. Now, I'm interlacing my hands behind the left thigh. If I did that and the whole upper torso wanted to peel away from the floor, then I would use my strap instead. That really helps to elongate the upper body, right? Because we still want to be able to lengthen the back of the neck here, drawing the chin towards the chest. Now, if both feet are off the floor, we're lightly flexing both feet. If just the right foot is on top of the left knee, rather, you're lightly flexing that foot. Square your hips towards the wall in front of you, lengthen your tailbone, and then see, it might be taking the legs a little side to side feels good in your body. It might be just taking the legs to the left feels really useful. You're welcome to hang out. You're welcome to go in with a little bit of movement. It's all up to you. We're breathing, nice full inhalation, complete exhalation. We're back in with the word for this year coming up, curiosity. Nice. Inhaling, exhaling. Beautiful. And then coming back to neutral. Option for a little bit of abdominal work here if you're into it. If you're holding on to the back of the left thigh, you'll extend the left leg up towards the sky, right? So this only works if the left leg is up. Then you're letting go, reaching the fingertips towards the end of your mat. You're going to inhale here to get long, then exhale, peel the upper torso off the floor, reach the fingertips towards the wall in front of you, shoulder blades down the back, gaze is just at that right ankle. Breathing, breathing, pressing the right ankle against the left thigh against the right ankle. And then exhale, release. Everything comes back down to the floor. And then let's take the head and the knees in opposition, right? So a little side to side, little windshield wiping of the legs. Feels good, releasing any tension in the body. Again, go in with the sighing, especially if you've been feeling stressed. And then my husband actually taught me this one, the physiological sigh. Do you know this one where you inhale and then you inhale another little sip? So it's like, right? So you do like an inhale and then another quick little inhale. So it's almost like, when you're, it's going to sound terrible, but when you're crying and you kind of like you do a little hitch in your breath, right? It's like that, only it's deliberate. And so you inhale, try it again, inhale, and then take another little quick sip, and then exhale like with a sigh. Try one more just so we know it's not a fluke. Inhale fully, then a quick little, and then exhale. That's called the physiological sigh. It's super cool. All right, on your next exhalation, now it's the left knee coming in towards the chest. You're holding on either over the shin or behind the thigh, relaxing the shoulders completely, and most importantly, relaxing that left hip completely. So notice we have a tendency to kind of unconsciously hold it towards the center. It has to be towards the center, but it really doesn't. Not here. Instead, let it drift. Let the head go in opposition. Full inhalations, complete exhalations, softening the jaw, the teeth, the tongue, the inner thigh, the outer hip. Beautiful. And then coming back to neutral, switching your grip. So now the hands are behind the thigh. We're lightly flexing the foot. And then we're going in with that action, inhaling to extend the leg, really pressing femur bone into hamstrings, hamstrings into hands. And then as you exhale, it's a squeeze of the back of the knee, like you've got a ball back there. Inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to bend the knee, going back and forth. Lengthening the back of the neck. I know when we go to the hamstrings, we often get short in those areas. So see what you can do. It's amazing how much energy we can put into this. It seems so simple. We're just extending and flexing the knee. But if you really get into it, it's a bit of a work for the muscles. And then next time you extend, pause, and then we're pointing and flexing the foot. And again, we're trying to be articulate with the toes. It's like we're rolling through the foot. Yes. Don't be aggressive. We don't want any foot cramping, but we're just kind of seeing what's possible there. Takes a little bit of coordination. Notice if you're holding the breath. All right, if it feels like too much, just do the simple point and flex. Don't add on the toes. But it's always kind of interesting to see what can we do here. Nice, and then circling the foot. A few times in one direction, a few times in the other. Are you still breathing? I noticed I had been holding my breath. Happens to everyone. And then releasing the leg, flexing the foot. It's slow and controlled, dropping the leg towards the earth, exhaling to lift it back up. Can you go with the full breath pace? Inhaling to lower, exhale to lift. Maybe your leg doesn't go all the way to the floor. Maybe it stops somewhere that feels more comfortable. That's fine. Right, we're here noticing how it's going. Yes, and then next time the leg comes up, we pause, and then like a windshield wiper, we take it across the body, right? So it goes off to the right, and then it goes over to the left, and you only go as far as you can keep that right hip down. If the right hip starts to get light, you've gone too far, right? So it becomes a bit of a test. And I even like to take my right fingertip to the front of my iliac crest bone to kind of see, can I keep myself honest? Inhaling, exhaling. Keep the foot flexed if you can. That helps. Couple more times, moving it out to the side. Oh, can you keep the pelvis level? Then across the body. One more time, out to the side. And then back. Beautiful. Outer left ankle, top of right thigh, back to our tailor's pose. Feels like a relief here. You're deciding which variation you want to take, either pressing the right with the left hand, using the block, or drawing that right thigh towards you as you resist the left knee away. Wherever you are, feet are lightly flexed. You're squaring the hips towards the wall in front of you. Navel back, 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 right? Back of the neck nice and long. And then for some bodies, it's going to be the rocking that feels good. For others, it's just going to the right. Like in my body, the rocking feels okay, but when I take the legs to the right and I just hang out, then I'm getting the special stretch that I need in that left buttock, left thigh, right? And everybody's different. So feel free to experiment. And it's not the same all the time, right? There'll be some days you come to do this and you're like, nope, the rocking is what's working. Finding the inhalation, finding the exhalation. And then bringing the legs back to neutral, option for a little bit of core work here if you want it. Extending that right leg straight up towards the sky. You make a locker between that left ankle and the right thigh, which means you're squeezing them together. And then we reach the arms towards the wall in front of us. Inhale to lengthen the back of the neck, reaching the base of the skull away from the back of the shoulders. And then exhale, peel the upper torso away from the floor. Draw the belly button down towards the spine. Really reach the arms. See how far you can get. Can you peel the whole shoulder blades off the floor? And then taking an inhale here, we exhale, lower it down. Both feet land, head, neck, shoulders, arms, they all come down. And then take the head and the knees in opposition, just working out any bits of tension there. Beautiful. And then go ahead, find your strap. Find your strap. I've got a big loop in mine, but it doesn't matter. And then we're going to draw both knees into the chest, put both feet into the strap, and lengthen the strap up towards the sky. So it's a bit like Urdhva Mukha Dandasana, right? Upward facing staff pose. I've got my legs perpendicular to the floor. I've got a strap in both hands. And I've been playing around with this to release tension in the sacrum. So on an exhalation, you're going to bend your elbows out to the side and take the legs as far towards you as feels comfortable. Then as you inhale, you let them rock a little bit away, not all the way to the floor, but a little bit away. And then exhale, draw them towards you. Inhale, let them go a little bit away. So it's not a huge action, right? In some bodies, this will be very small. It's another way to reset the sacrum. I was playing with, feels fairly useful. If you need to soften the knees a little bit, you absolutely can. Otherwise, the legs are straight. So it's like you're using the arms to guide the legs. I mean, obviously the legs and the core need to work a little bit here, but the legs, the arms rather, really help. And then we can go side to side, and this is a smaller action. And it's okay if one side of the sacrum gets light, just don't topple all the way over. Kind of play with how far you can go. My elbows end up coming to the floor to help stabilize. Nice. And then what I found most useful was to take the legs around in a circle. So it's a little bit like your feet are a kite and you're steering your kite around in a circle. And you're, meanwhile, at the back of the sacrum, you're going around the outer edge of the sacrum. Nice. If at any point the strap feels like it's too much on the hands, you can wrap the strap around the knuckles. Make sure you go the other direction if you haven't already. And maybe you even switch directions a few times. Beautiful. And then bringing the legs back to neutral, one last little action. Flex the feet. You've got your hands on the strap, so the legs won't move very far. But I want you to press your outer feet into the strap, right? So it's like you're trying to take your legs apart, but the strap is there acting as a barrier to your action, right? You're resisting your legs out into the strap. Beautiful. Then exhale, release, strap goes to the side. Grab your block, put your block between your knees, and now lightly flex the foot, and I want you to squeeze the block between the knees. So the legs are extended up towards the sky. The block could be at the upper thigh too. It's really up to you. I found this more effective at my knee, but you could play around with where you put the block. And then I'm squeezing the legs together. right? So now the opposite of we were taking the legs out into the strap. Now we're squeezing the legs together. And then exhale, release. Block goes to the side. Draw both knees in. Rock a little side to side. And then we've got one last little bit of work here on our backs. We're going to extend the left leg, keep the right knee bent, and bring the right foot to the floor. Arms go out in a T shape. And then I think we did this Tuesday with Annie. You're going to let that right knee cross the midline as you turn to look over the right arm. And then as you inhale, you let the whole body come back to the earth. So as I exhale, I'm pushing into that right foot. I'm letting the right knee cross over. I'm turning to look over the right arm. And then as I inhale, it all comes kind of sloshing back onto the ground. You can even get a little jiggle in if that feels good. And what I mean by that is that I'm kind of pulsing into my right foot, getting a little jiggle through the body, and then I inhale to return. So just a bit of an unwinding after everything we just did. Feels useful, feels nice. Yes. Hmm. And then when you feel ready, we can switch sides, bending the left knee, extending the right leg, and then same thing, pushing into that left foot, left knee crosses over to the right, the head turns to the left. Right, so it's a little playing around. You can always add the jiggle if that feels good, kind of loosening things up. Mm-hmm. Nice. And then rolling all the way over. So you can just use that leg to push you all the way over. We're coming to table pose. There will be a downward facing dog involved. So if you still have socks on, now might be a good opportunity to take them off. And then we're coming to hands and knees. If you need padding underneath your knees, feel free to take it. Mm-hmm. Then going in with our familiar movements of the spine. So flexion and extension, cat and cow, inhaling, lift the tailbone, lift the sternum, lift the gaze. Exhale, navel to spine, head and tailbone come down. So going back and forth at your breath pace here, finding your rhythm. Nice. Then coming back to neutral, let's take it side to side. So we inhale to get long. Exhale, wag the tail to the right, turn to look over the right shoulder. Inhale through center, exhale, second side. Back and forth. Nice. And then here's where we're going. You're going to take your big toes to touch. Knees come slightly up wider than hips distance. Right? And then we're going to work with a bit of twisting. So we're going to go ahead and inhale that left arm up towards the sky, and it might be the elbow, it might be the whole arm. That as you exhale, it's like you're serving something underneath your body over to the right. Right? So I inhale to open the arm up towards the sky. I exhale, it's like I'm reaching as far as I can under the body over to the other side of the room. Right? Kind of wringing the body out now. And again, if it doesn't feel good in the shoulder to take the whole arm towards the sky, I can just reach with the elbow, and I might be at an angle. I might not be reaching straight towards the ceiling. But that's the idea. You try to go straight towards the ceiling and just see what's possible there. Mm-hmm. Nice. On this next one, we're actually going to come to lay the shoulder down. So coming into full thread the needle, coming down on the left side of the head. If I need padding, that blanket's probably still nearby. So I've got my left shoulder on the floor. My right hand can stay on the ground, or I might lift my right arm up towards the sky, bend the elbow, and take the right hand around the back body towards the upper left thigh. Right? So here we are in thread the needle, taking a couple of breaths. And then reaching the right arm back up to the sky. Right hand comes down in front of the face. You can push the floor away, coming back up, coming back out. And we'll do that much to the second side. So we're inhaling, lifting the right arm up, right arm, yep, up towards the sky. Exhaling, curling underneath the body like you're reaching across the room. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, reaching under, right? It's a real wringing out. I can feel it in the abdomen. We're squeezing the body, right? Twisting. Twists can be in all different planes of the body. We can do them in all different positions. Couple more. Remember, it might not be the whole arm that reaches. It might just be the elbow. That's a fine way to work. And then next time the arm comes underneath, we're going to go ahead and lay it down, coming to our full thread the needle, right? Again, you can always put a little support underneath the head if you needed to. And then reaching that left arm if you wanted to up towards the sky. Then I bend the elbow and I try to reach over to the top of the right thigh. You don't have to do that. It's optional. And then reaching the arm back up towards the sky, we place the hand down in front of the face, push the floor away to come back up, back into our table pose. Now I'm turning my legs back to parallel, knees back underneath the hips. Plant the hands well, index fingers parallel. We're going to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog or downward facing dog alternative. Tucking the toes under, pushing the floor away, lifting the hips up and back, or you've got your hands on a surface. Really think of dropping the heels towards the earth. If the heels don't come to the earth, you can always take the legs a little wider. See if that helps. Yes, nice job, everyone. Think of wherever you are, you're lengthening the tailbone away from the crown of the head. Beautiful. Another breath or two here. And then exhale, come on down. We're going to take tall blocks underneath our hands. Tall blocks underneath our hands. So I'm in a table pose, but my arms are elevated, right? I've got nice height under them. And I'm taking my right foot forward. Right knee is directly over my ankle. Okay. Then I'm tucking the left toes under and I'm going to extend the left leg. So here we are in a high lunge. I'm pressing through that right heel bone. At the same time, I'm reaching through that inner left heel, trying to lengthen the leg behind me. Any amount I can lift and spread the collarbones. I'm not lifting the gaze, cranking the back of the neck. My gaze is in front of me on the earth, so the back of the neck is nice and long. And we're just hanging out for a second, seeing what this feels like. Then I want you to bring the left knee down and notice how low the hips get. So you're trying to open the front of that left groin. So you're going to see, could you keep the hips as low as they are? And in my body, my left foot needs to go back a little bit, right? So as I'm planning to keep the hips lower, my left foot wants to move back a little bit. Might even need to move my blocks back a smidge. But now I'm going to keep my hips as low as I can. Go slow. On your next inhalation, see if you can extend that left leg now, keeping the hips low as you can. Yes, yawning open the front of that left thigh, engaging through the buttocks, shoulder blades away from the ears. Another inhalation. And then exhale, slowly bring the left knee down. Now, we're going to give ourselves our own adjustments. You're going to tuck your right thumb into your right hip crease. You're going to hold your right hip down. Inhale to get long. And now on the exhalation, see if you can extend that left leg. Now, you might have the knee still a little soft. I don't want any injuries here. You're just seeing what's freely given from the body. We're not being aggressive. Right? We're just seeing what's possible. Nice. Inhaling, exhaling. And then slowly, slowly. Left knee comes down. Right hand comes back to the block. We take that right knee back. I'm putting my blocks to the side. We're touching downward facing dog again. Right? And again, maybe it's your alternative. But we're just seeing we've opened one thigh, not the other. When we come back into downward dog, what's there? What's there? Yes, gorgeous. Exhale, coming down. Let's do the second side. Let's do the second side. So I've got my tall blocks. Now it's the left foot that comes forward. Beautiful. Find your alignment. You want the knee over the heel. Lift and spread all 5 toes on that left foot. Shoulder blades down the back, lift and spread the collarbones here. Then tuck the right toes under. First one's a freebie. Extend the knee and just see what happens. Beautiful. Exhale, bend the knee, put it down. Now, this is where we're going in to stay low, right? So adjust yourself. We're not using our hand yet, but we're preparing. Right? So notice where are the hips? Try to maintain that and extend that right leg. Try to keep the hips low. Breathing, breathing. Nice. Exhale, bring it down. So this is our last one. So we're going to tuck our left thumb into our left hip crease. We're actively trying to hold that left hip down. We're inhaling to lengthen. Right hand still on the right block. Then as we exhale, we're trying to yawn open the back of that right knee. Inner right heel reaching back, back, back. Nice. Sternum reaching forward. Gaze is at the floor, just a few feet in front of you. Nice. And inhale. Come on down. Exhale. Take that front knee back again. In with downward facing dog. Plant the hands, tuck the toes. Hips go up and back. Yes, or it's an alternative, whatever you need to do, that's fine. How is it in the back of the neck? Do you need to take a little nod? Yes, a little nod, no. And then we're headed to Uttanasana, standing forward bend. So walking the feet forward, draping the head, letting go of the upper torso. So soften the knees a smidge so you can really let go of tension in the upper body. Yes, nice. Beautiful. Then everyone take your thumbs into your hip creases. Draw the hips back, lengthen the spine. Inhale and come back to standing. From here, we're ready for this now. I'm very excited. We've got our 2 tall blocks in front of us again. I'm starting a little further back on my mat, and maybe you will too, because I've got a wall in front of us. So we're going to go from Parsvottanasana to Virabhadrasana 3 legs, right? And so we'll have to step forward. You don't want to crack your head on anything. Then hands come to the hips. Let's go ahead and take that right foot forward, left foot back, left foot turns out slightly. We're squaring our hips to the front of the mat. If you need more space laterally, right to left between the feet, take it. Press that outer left heel down, down, down. Press the big toe ball mound of the right foot into the earth. Nice. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, hands find the blocks. For now, is the weight still in that back heel? And then take your right thumb into your right hip crease. A little bit of a different adjustment this time. Now we're hooking that hip back to lengthen the front of the spine, just so we can feel what's possible. And then maintaining that any amount, take the right hand back to the block, and let's exhale to bow down. Nice. Inhale to come back up halfway. Spin the back heel up, bend the front knee, walk the blocks forward. And then you're planting your weight onto your right foot, lifting the left leg up to hip height. We just did all the work to open the fronts of the groins now, so lifting the leg should come a little bit easier. Navel to spine, pubic bone to belly button, reach through the crown of the head. And then those that can reach the right arm forward, like you're shaking someone's hand. Nice, yes. One more inhale here. Then exhale, right hand comes back to the block. Bend the front knee, reach, reach, reach with that left foot. Take the blocks with you. Find Parsvottanasana again. The feet should feel grounded. Adjust them if you need to. Then hands come to the hips. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, navel to spine. Lift yourself up using the abdominal muscles. Beautiful. Then turn the feet parallel. Walk or jump the feet back together. Good job. Breathe. Let's roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down, just relieving any tension. Nice. We've got one more side to do. You're on your last legs. You're so well prepared here. So blocks are in front of you. Come to stand a little bit away. Hands on the hips. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Take a moment to find Tadasana. Take a moment to catch up with yourself. And then left foot forward, right foot back, right foot turns out slightly. You're either on a tightrope or railroad tracks, you choose. Squaring the hips towards the front of the mat. Outer right heel pressing down, left big toe ball mound pressing down. Inhale the arms up, look up if you can. Then exhale, hinging at the hips, hands come to the blocks, you move them underneath your shoulders. You still have contact with that back right heel. And then left thumb sneaks into the left hip crease. You're using it now to help you lengthen the front of the torso, right? It's like you anchor that left hip back. That gives you the ability to shoot the spine forward. Maintaining that left hand comes back to the block. We exhale, bowing down any amount. Inhale to come back up, look forward. Spin the back heel up, bend the front knee, walk your blocks forward, and then you're stomping onto that left foot. Now lifting that right leg back up to hip height if you can. Square the hips to the floor. I know the right hip wants to lift. Navel to spine, lengthen through the crown of the head, and then those that can reach the right arm or left arm forward. Reach the left arm forward. Right hand is on the block. Reach the right heel back. Nice. Keep breathing. Don't hold the breath. Inhale, exhale. Nice. And then left hand comes to the block. We inhale to get long one more time. Then exhale, bend the left knee, reach that right leg back, stick the landing, take the blocks with you. Pro tip. Then you're planting that right foot on the floor. It has to turn out again, right? And then you need to be stable in your feet. Do you need to move them a little closer together? That's okay. Then hands to the hips. Inhale to get long. Exhale, navel to spine, come all the way up. Gorgeous. Then turn the feet parallel. Walk or jump the feet back together. Roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Come back down onto the earth. Let's do a chest opener on blocks, right? So you'll need your 2 blocks. We want a medium block and a tall block. If you can, not everyone can. So if you need a flat block and a medium block, take it. But I want the 1 block medium, if that's what you're using, to be lengthwise down the mat so it goes between the shoulder blades. and then I'm using a tall block for the head. If I was going for the lower variation of this pose, I would flatten the medium block and I would turn the tall block to medium. Does that make sense? Right? So you're either on the medium and tall or on the flat and medium. Sounds like you're on the what is it, the short and narrow. But here we are coming back. The edge of the first block has to be at the bottom tip of the shoulder blades. And then the second block is right at the occiput. And after all that forward bending, a little bit of back bending is going to feel really nice. Now, I do this little trick with the elbow where I tilt the bent elbow like a chicken wing up towards the sky to help drag the shoulder blade down the back. You can absolutely try that. I like to keep my knees bent here, but if you want to try the legs extended, you absolutely can do that as well. Then you've got a couple of options. I don't necessarily as much like taking the arms overhead here, although you can try it. What I like better is to take the arms out into what I call the upside down skydiver. So my biceps are coming out of the torso at 90 degrees. The elbows are bent at 90 degrees. And then you can sort of lean from one side to the other. And if you've had a lot of tension in the upper back lately, or if you're like me and you get that adhesion between the shoulder blade and the spinal column, it can feel so nice to do this little side to side. Kind of play around with it in any way that feels good. And then it can also feel good to stretch the arms overhead, palms of the hands facing each other like a superhero. But it's really up to you. And then it can also just feel nice to rest the arms on the earth. So play around. There's no wrong variation, right? You're absolutely in charge here. Beautiful. And then everyone can rest the arms on the earth. How close they are to the hips makes a difference. So you play around further away from the hips, it's more of a stretch. Closer to the hips, it's less of a stretch. And then if you did extend the legs, I want you to bend the knees one at a time. If I was protecting my spine for any reason and I just wanted to come out of this with no effort, I would simply roll to one side. Others, I want you to interlace your hands behind the back of the head. On an exhalation, peel your upper torso up. Beautiful, navel to spine. Then reaching the arms forward. Inhale, lengthen the arms. Exhale, see if you could just sit right up off of that block. You might need a little momentum. Good job. All right. And then now we'll take the hips up. So we had the chest up. Now we'll take the hips up. You might use two flat blocks on top of each other. You might use a medium block. You might use a flat block too. Yep. All things are optional there. Coming back and down. Plant the feet. Lift the hips. Slide your blocker blocks underneath the pelvis. Take a moment here. Press the elbows down. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other. Nice. Again, opening the fronts of the groins. We worked hard to get here, so this should feel good. And then we'll exhale the knees in. Inhale the feet up towards the sky. Looking for that perpendicularity. Legs are directly over the hips. They're not forward. They're not towards me. I'm still pressing the elbows, even if I extend the arms. Rolling outer, outer, upper, upper. Back of the neck is long. Breathing here. Getting our opportunity to be upside down. We've been building our time in this pose. Softening the jaw, the teeth, the tongue. And then exhaling, bending the knees. Inhaling, bringing the feet to the floor. Again, pausing just for a moment. It's good to stretch the abdominal area like this as well. And then I'm pressing the feet down, lifting the hips, taking my blocks out, rolling all the way down. Pelvis comes to the floor. Exhale, draw the knees into the chest, rocking a little side to side. Beautiful. Then hands on the bent knees. We can steer the knees around in a circle, a few times in one direction, a few times in the other. And then rolling all the way to one side, gathering everything you need for Shavasana. We're headed there. So if you lost articles of clothing, right, you lost your socks, you lost your sweater while we were working, go ahead and reclaim them. I'd love you to have a blanket underneath the head and the neck. And then if my low back was feeling squirrely at all, I would use my flat blocks underneath my upper thighs. And then if you have a blanket to pull on top of you, that's a fabulous idea. If you have an electric throw blanket, and this is my, I know I say it every year, but it's my favorite prop for winter yoga is just my electric. I have one that just lives in my pile of yoga props. And I plug it in before every yoga class. And then in Shavasana, I cover up with my heated throw, and it is the best thing on the planet. So if you have one of those, do that. But then come and find your Shavasana. Make sure you're going to be nice and warm. Before you fully commit to stillness, to silence, let's open the mouths wide once again, sticking the tongue out long. And then moving the tongue over to the left. Back through center, move it over to the right. Back to center, stretch it out a little bit longer. And then draw the tongue back into the mouth. Bring just the lips back to touch. And now let go of yourself completely. Let loose yourself completely. Let yourself rest here in stillness and silence, knowing now there's nothing to do. Now, if you have the time and space to stay for longer, you should absolutely do that. Take a longer Shavasana, relax, hang out. Others, you're time bound or you're just ready to move again. And if that's you, deepen the breath, bring movement back to fingers and toes. And then exhale the knees into the chest. Give yourself a hug. And then very slowly roll to your right side. Pause there for a moment, feeling the earth beneath you. And then use the hands. The head's the last thing to arrive. Bring yourself back up to a seated position. Nice. Uh, hands come together in front of the heart, lifting up through the crown of the head. And then on an exhalation, take the chin forward, take the chin down, bowing to the seat of the soul, bowing to that divine inner wellspring of kindness, compassion, patience, and joy. The light in me is so deeply honored by your light, grateful for your practice, and humbled by your presence. And if no one's told you yet today, I love you, and I'm convinced of your capacity to continue crafting a life worth living. You've got this. Thanks for being here. Namaste. Good job, everyone. You brought the ruckus today, as my mom would say.